Hello and welcome back to Coding with T. Today we're going to learn how to create a sidebar, a fully functional sidebar that should be used or that can be used in any type of Flutter admin panel. After creating this sidebar, you will be able to create your own websites with the complete menu. So make sure to watch the video till end. First of all, let's quickly have a look what we are going to create. Okay, in the previous tutorial, as you can see, we have already created this type of header for our admin panel, which is responsive. We learn all the responsiveness, and in today's tutorial, we're going to talk about this sidebar. If you see the sidebar, first of all, its design, you can see it's not rounded, which is the default drawer design, which is a rounded design. It is not rounded, it has a rectangle design, and also it can be scrollable. We will see in a minute. It is responsive, and currently you can see in the URL we have the dashboard selected, or the dashboard URL is on, which we also covered in the previous videos. If you're new, you can watch the previous videos, link is in the description. And also you can see this dashboard screen is appeared. Meanwhile, this in the sidebar menu, this dashboard is selected. Either we are focusing on, we are hovering on this element or not, it is selected. But when I'm going to hover on other elements, you can see the color of this icon, the text icon, and the background color of the specific item is changing. And let's say when I'm going to click on this any of the product, it is going to display that specific screen in front of us, and also that URL in the browser URL will be changed. Currently it's displaying the products. And also to check its responsiveness, when I'm going to switch it to the tablet mode, you can see our navigation drawer is gone, but still if you open it, you can see the products is selected. And also same if we are going to go for the mobile design, inside you can still see the product is selected. When I'm going to go for the dashboard appeared, dashboard is selected, and in the full screen still dashboard is right over there. So this is what we are going to create today. It will be a full-fledged menu tutorial or the sidebar tutorial. If you've already followed some of the tutorials on YouTube, you might found them confusing, so I will try to make it as easy as possible. So make sure to watch the complete tutorial so that you cannot miss any of the steps. So let's get started. We are creating Flutter e-commerce admin panel, and we have already covered our two sections. We learned the responsiveness in the previous videos of this section 3. We completed all the URL related videos, routing and navigation in detail, set up everything in section 1, and now in section 3 we are about to see the last video, which is the sidebar tutorial. So if you're new again, you can get the complete playlist link from the description below. So let's get started with today's tutorial. Okay, so we are inside our application that we have created for e-commerce admin panel, and for the learning purpose, in the previous tutorials we created bunch of screens, screen 1, screen 2, and this screen, which is responsive design screen. We created our website template with the desktop, tablet, and mobile layouts, and bunch of other things. So today, to create a sidebar, which will be the common sidebar for all the screens, so we are going to create a widget inside the common widgets. Go to the layouts. Like in the headers, we are going to create a new folder, sidebars, so that in this sidebars you can create as many type of sidebars as you want. And in that, I'm going to directly create a file, sidebar.dart, and inside I'm going to create a status widget and name it TSidebar. Now to create a sidebar, the first thing that we are going to do is we're going to replace this placeholder with the actual drawer provided by the Flutter. And inside the drawer, the first and foremost thing, that if you see the default drawer, if I open this application and reduce its size, now you can see this, the default drawer has a shape which is rounded from the top and the bottom. So if you want to go with this design, that's cool, you can do it, but also you have to make sure that that design should not affect your design on the desktop. But for our case, we are going to change the shape of this drawer. I'm going to use the beveled rectangle border, which will remove all the rounded corners. Then as a child of this drawer, the first thing we are going to do is to design the background, assign the background color, and we need one single border on the right side of this drawer. So for that, I'm going to use the container as a decoration. We're going to use the box decoration, and first we need to assign the color. I'm going to use the T colors property, which will be the white color, and the border we're going to use border, white border, and use the border side with the color T colors dot gray with the width 1. So what is this colors? This colors class is the helper class that we created, and I have all the static variables so that we can directly use T colors dot whatever color we want. If you see the white color down below in the neutral shades, we have all the colors that we are using. And if you see this gray color, this is, you can also use these colors directly in the design. And where this colors.dart is located inside the utils, that close it in the lib utils constants, we have colors, we have all the images defined over here in the image strings. You can see with the static variables. Then we have the sizes. All the sizes that we required inside our admin panel are defined over here. And then we have some text strings. Okay, once the decoration is completed or the design is completed as a child of this container, the first thing I'm going to add a single child scroll view so that our sidebar menu can be scrollable in case of smaller devices. Otherwise, it is going to be crashed. As a child, we are going to create a column because we need to stack all the elements in vertical direction. Okay, first thing I'm going to create is the image, and for that I'm going to use the circular image. What this TCircular Image widget is, we will show you. I'll show you in a minute. So first add all these values, width and height as 100. I've added width and height as 100. Image is dark app logo. So this image is defined in the assets over here, and in the logos I have some images with the two colors, with the dark tone and with the light tone. So you can modify these as well with based on light and dark modes if you're going for that. But I'm just using the same one which we used inside our e-commerce app. So what this widget is, TCircular Image, this is the widget that we created inside our app. Again, it has some predefined values assigned, like width and height by default is 56 and image type is the asset image. It has a fit property with a small padding, and again small size is 8. So once we have all these values, we can pass some of these values, and you can see not a single value is required. It means that you do not have to be forcefully passed any value. And this is the design. We have a container, width, height, padding, decoration, and as a child we're going to generate a widget which is going to return a clip array. Border radius will be based on width and height, and then the child will be this image widget. If the image type is network, it is going to generate a network image. If it is memory, file, and asset, in this case we have this asset image widget which is down below over here, and we are just using this image. You can directly use it as well, that's up to you. So we have created this circular image. Now let's save it, but first we have to assign this sidebar as well. So go to common widgets, in the layouts, in the responsive screen, go for the desktop layout, and in that you can see currently we had a static drawer, but instead we are going to use T sidebar class, and I'm going to add this class for the mobile and tablet as well. Instead of this static drawer, we're going to use this T sidebar. Okay, so once assigned, we can close these files and save the code. Okay, here you can see currently we have an image. You can change the size, you can change the image, you can do whatever you want, but this is how it is going to be displayed. We have the white background. We have a shape with the right side border. Currently we cannot see any radius, not at the top, not at the bottom. So we have a perfect right side line or a gray border, the same border that we assigned to this header. Next, inside this column, I'm going to add a size box with the height of t sizes dot space between sections. So I mostly use the sizes class with a static variable space between sections, which is 32, and space between items, which is 16, and default space, which will be the space around the sections or the screens. We'll be using most of the time these things. After adding a space, I'm going to start creating the actual menu. So for that we again have to use the column, and the reason is that we can easily add padding around this column because this image does not require any padding. So we can assign padding to this one, and the padding that I'm going to use is the medium size padding, which is 16, or you can use space between items, so that's your choice. So columns cross axis alignment, which is horizontal alignment, will be the start, so that elements should start from the left side, and main axis size will be minimum so that it can require only available space. Now as a children, the first thing I'm going to add the heading. Heading is like menu, and as a style we're going to use the theme dot of context, use the text theme that we already created, and we're going to go for the body small size. And to add the extra space between the elements or between the letters, I'm going to use dot apply property, and letter spacing delta should be increased to 1.2. and now we can remove this constant. Let's save the code, and you can see the menu is currently visible, but it is in the center because the column has a very small width. But now let's add the main item. So for the main item, I'm going to use the container again, and first let me add a color. Currently I'm going to add the single color, but we will change these colors based on hovering and based on selection. So first let's complete the design. We need to add the border radius. So instead of adding the color over here, we can use decoration property, and inside the box decoration we can use this color. Now add a border radius here. I'm going to go for border radius dot circular, and the size I'm going to use is card radius medium. You can see the size, which is 12.0. You can increase or decrease it as well. So design of the menu item is ready. Instead of creating a complete menu item over here, I'm going to extract this menu item from here and extract Flutter widget as a T menu item. So it's extracted from here, and we just have to call this widget T menu item. Currently we're not passing anything from this menu, but later on we will definitely pass different menu data from here. So I've created a separate folder for the menu, and inside we have the menu item. You can create different type of menu item styles over here inside this folder, and you can use that inside your sidebar. So currently we have the decoration with the color and border radius. Now let's add a child, and inside the row we are going to add all the icons and text. So first of all, we are going to use the cross-axis alignment of this row, which is the vertical alignment, and make it center. Next, as a child, first create the icon. Icon will be the icons x dot status, and color will be white, because as a background color currently we are using the primary color. And also we need to add padding around this icon. So alt enter, wrap it with the padding, and we are not going to use the all padding, instead use the only, and inside we are going to assign the left as the different one using t sizes dot large from the left, and rest all will be medium size. So left is large, top, bottom and right side are medium sizes. So medium is 16 and large is 24. Now let's save it and let's see if we have anything visible. And now you can see the text automatically driven to the left side, because no column is taking all the available space, and we have the background color as primary color, and then we have an icon. It also has some padding from the left side, top and bottom, and also on the right side. Now once this icon is created, let's create a text. Text is dashboard using the style of theme dot of context. Text theme that I'm going to use is body medium, and again because background is currently primary color, which is blue color, so we have to apply a color so that the text can be visible. Make it white. Remove this constant. Now let's save it. And you can see currently it's a static design, but the design is created with the background as primary. Then we have the icon with the white color, text with the white color, and we cannot do hovering or much about this. So you can change your designs. You can create any type of design you want. So once that design is created, we're going to add the background features. So to do that, add the background functionality to these menu items. First go to sidebar, and you can press Ctrl D to duplicate as many times. But remember, we cannot use this menu item again and again, because it has a static value, a static text and static icon. And also later on that we are going to use the route, that is also be the static in this case. So to make it dynamic, I'm going to add three variables. First one will be route, icon and item name, so that instead of passing the static icons like over here and the name over here, and also the route that we will use in few minutes, that will be string route. So I'm going to get all these values in the constructor, and you can see these three are required. Now in here we cannot use all these like this. Instead we have to pass icon, item name and route. So let me pass these. So I've created three menu items. Routes that we created are the first screen route, responsive design, second screen. These are the static key routes class, which is holding the routes variable that are visible in the URLs. So this is the default route. Then we have a dummy screen, which is a responsive design tutorial screen. Then we have second screen. So we're going to use those three routes over here as a menu item with three different icons and three different item names. Now let's save it. Currently you can see we have those three items, but the issue is we did not assign these values to the menu item, and also we did not added some space. So let's go to menu items. We have to wrap this container with a padding with the t sizes dot small will be the vertical, or the using symmetric we are going to add the vertical space top and bottom. And also we have to replace these static values with the item name and icon. We are not using the route currently, so remove this constant. So let's save it. And now you can see we have a dashboard. Media and banners all have these three different icons. Okay, now to make it dynamic, we first have to create a controller. That controller I'm going to create is right inside this sidebars. So create a new file. I've created a sidebar controller, and inside we have created a simple class which is sidebar controller extending the getX controller. The reason to extend it with the getX controller, so that we can use this class with the get.put and get.find methods to create its instance and to find the already created instance. If you're new, you can watch The routing tutorial link is in the description. Okay, we need two main variables over here. The first variable is active item, and by default I'm going to go for the T routes. Let's say I'm going to make responsive design tutorial screen as active item, but to make this active item observable, so that whenever there is change inside this active item variable, we want to update our UI. So to do that, we have to make this variable as .obs. This means that now this variable is observable variable, and it will be observed by the obx widget in the UI that we will add in few minutes, and that widget will remain detecting whenever there is change inside this active item. That UI will automatically trigger a change without calling a set state or anything else. The next variable we need is the hover item, and hover item will be again a string but an empty observable variable. Means that there will be nothing inside this hover item, because by default nothing can be hovered. So again, it is an observable variable, and whenever there is change in the observable variable, which is the hover item or the active item, the UI should automatically update itself. Now to change the active item, I'm going to create a helper function which is not going to return anything but update this active item variable, and automatically the UI should detect that change and update itself. Change active item, which is going to change this active item, and we are going to get the string. That string can be assigned instead of this one, which will be a string again. If you see this, these all are the strings that are here. These are the routes. Definitely it is going to receive some other route from that list of T routes, and as a fat arrow, because we only have one single line in this function, so we can replace it with the fat arrow. I'm going to call this active item, and to assign the new value in the active item so that UI can detect the change, we have to call the dot value, and we have to assign the new route like this. Now whenever we want to change the active item, we just have to call this function, and automatically this active item will get assigned with the new route. And same way we're going to call a function to change the hover item, and instead of using the fat arrows, I'm going to use the curly brackets, because we do not want to return in all cases over here. We just want to change the variable only if current item which is being hovered is not active item, because if it is active item, we do not want to add a hover effect on it again. So if active item dot, so this dot value is going to return us the actual string from this dot observer variable. So active item dot value is equal to route. This means that if the current active item is same as this one which we are going to hover, then we do not want to do anything. So we only want to do anything if this is not the case, or you can say not is equal to route. Only in that case we want to change the hover item dot value is equal to new route, so that the hover item can be assigned with a new value. So we can make it simpler like this. Now below here we can create two further functions which will be the add-on or the helper functions. These functions are basically optional. If you want to skip them, you can do it. So these two functions are going to return the boolean as true and false if the current route, that we just have to pass a route to this function, and it's going to return true if it is active, or if this is being hovered or not. So we will pass the route, which will be a string again, and it is just going to check if this active item has the same string that is passed over here, then it's going to return the true as this route is active which is passed. And same for the hovering, if this route is same as the hover item, then it is going to return as true. And now using this active item, we can update our if statement like this. We will call this function and pass the route to this function, and if this function is not active, using this not sign, only this if should be executed. If it is not active, then we want to change this hover item. So after these two functions, we're going to create a main function. Whenever the menu will be tapped, menu icon will be tapped, we want to change the active menu item. Again, it is not going to return anything. I'm going to name it menu on tap, and this is again going to receive the route that should be selected. And the first thing we're going to check again, that if it is not active, only then we want to reassign it, because if it is already active, why do we want to make it active again? So to avoid that, reassigning the routes again and again on tap, we have added this if statement. If that is not active, we just have to call the change active item, and that's it. The function that we create over here will automatically receive this route over here and make this route as active item. And after this action, the active item will have the latest route from this route. And we have to add another check. If the device that is open using the device utils dot is mobile screen, This means that if this is the mobile screen that is on, then we want to close the drawer as well. So call get.back. This get.back is going to close the drawer automatically when the specific menu item selected in the mobile device, and in here we have to pass the context. So we can use the get context, get.context, add exclamation sign, and that's it. This means that whenever the drawer is opened in mobile, we have to close it, so we will close it automatically. You can also do this for tablet mode as well. So these are again the helper functions inside the device utility.dart. We created these three helper functions which we learned while creating the previous responsive designs tutorials, which are going to check is desktop, is tablet, or is mobile screen. Currently you can see we just trigger this change active item, which have to activate or display the current item as active, but we also want to move toward a new screen, right? So to do that, to move towards a new screen, we have to call get.toNamedFeature so that we can redirect to some other screen, and in here we have to pass the route on which we want to be redirected. And inside this we can also create the logout feature. We can check the route. If route is equal to logout, then we want to trigger the logout feature or the logout action over here as well, which we will see in upcoming tutorials. So that's it for now. We are doing or updating three things. The first one, we are going to change the active item if it is not already active. We are going to active this item. We are going to close the drawer if it is in the mobile, and we will redirect to that specific route. So this is the small sidebar that is completed. Now we can use this sidebar inside our menu item to modify these all values. So first and foremost, we have to create the menu controller. To create the instance of the sidebar controller, we have to call get.put, which is going to create a new instance of this sidebar controller inside the get, and we'll keep this controller instance available throughout in our application. So now we're going to use this menu controller, and we first have to wrap this padding with a widget, which will be inkwell widget, and we have to add two properties of this inkwell. The first one is the on tap, and the second one is on hover. So on this on tap, we have to call our controller or the backend using menu controller dot the function that we created at the end, which is menu on tap, and we have to pass whatever route we receive over here. In the on hover, we always receive a value, or you can call it hovering. If hovering is true, we can use the flat arrows here. If hovering is true, then we can call the menu controller dot change hover item, and we will pass this route. And if it is not the case, we want to remove that hover item, because this on hover is going to return us whenever we are entering into that hover element into this inkwell, or when we are going to leave this. So it will be either true or false. So if it is true, we are going to change this active item to this route, and if it is false, then again we are going to call this, but we are going to pass an empty route which does not exist, and whenever it is not going to match, you will see that the hover item will not be displayed as hovering. Now to make or the update, now to update the design, the complete menu item, whenever it is being hovered or whenever it is being leaved, it is being selected, update the design. Because we're using the .obs variables as active or hover, we have to wrap this padding with a widget called obx. This is the observer widget, which will observe those observable variables. So using this obx, we have to create a function like this, and in that function we have to return any widget. So we'll return our own design. Now this obx will keep on detecting the variables which are observer variables. So if we talk about the background color of this container design, so first we have to modify this. To modify this, we first have to check if the current container or the current menu item is being hovered or is active. If any of the case, we want to keep this primary design, and if not, we want to keep that design as, or the background color as, transparent. So we will use the menu controller dot is hovering function and is active function if they are going to return as true, if it is hovering, or if it is active. Then if that is the case, we're going to return the primary color, and else we're going to return the transparent color. And after that, to update this icon properties, we first have to check that if the menu controller is active, menu controller dot is active, pass the route, and if it is true, this means that if that icon is active, we want to keep the background color or the icon color as white, and we will pass the icon. But in the else case, we're going to again create the icon. If it is not active, if active, this will be triggered. If it is not active, this means if it is being hovered or not hovered. So we can create an icon, whatever the icon is. We have to give the size as 22. We can also give size as 22 over here. Then for the color, we just have to again check menu controller that if it is hovering, we are going to display. Hovering means the background color will again be primary color. In that case, we also want to display the white icon, and else we want to display the darker gray color of that icon. Okay, now lastly, we have to wrap this text first of all with the flexible widget, so that when the text is going to be large, it should not crash the design. So flexible is going to manage that thing. And at top of this flexible, we are going to create an if statement to check if it is active or hovering. So if Control Alt L, if this current route is being hovered, or if the current route is being active. If any of these conditions are true, this means that the background color of this text should be white, and this is the design that we are going to display. And in the else, we can use the else like this without the brackets, copy the same properties, and we do not have to add a comma at the end. So that's how we can use the else. And we're just going to update this darker gray color. You can also use this statement over here, but that will might not be the clean code. So I think we are done with assigning all these things. Now let's save the code. So if you go to the sidebar and you can see the route, this one, which is responsive design tutorial screen. So this screen should be appeared, and in the sidebar controller you can see the default active item is that same screen, which is this one. So now let's save it and see it, and you can see by default we have the third one, which is banners are being displayed. And when we are going to hover any of these other widgets, the color of these icons and text are being changed, and the one who is selected is not being reselected again. And also when I'm going to click on this dashboard, you can see we are redirected to this first screen. And let's go for the media, and you can see we are redirected to the second screen. And by clicking on the back button, you can see we have that specific screen selected. This means that this back button is not doing anything for us, so we have to modify that. And for that, if you go to the routes, inside we have a route observer, which is an empty class. Route observer is extending or extends itself with a get observer, and by doing this you can call the control O to override. And in that we have the did pop method, which is going to be triggered whenever user is going to press the back arrow from the browser. So we're going to override this did pop, and inside this I'm going to use the get.put sidebar controller to use the instance of this sidebar, and we have to modify this route with the dynamic property, and also make these two as nullable so that it can be used exactly as in the overridden function. Now inside this we can create if the previous route, you can see we have the main route and the previous route over here. So if the previous route not is equal to null, means if it is not null, we can use the for. We have to loop through to all the sidebar menu items, and if we found any of these, the previous route dot settings dot name with the current route name, this means that if we found the previous route name is equal to the name from any of these routes, we directly call the sidebar dot active item to this current item, so that active item should also be updated. And to create a list of these sidebar items, we can create an empty static list with a sidebar menu items, and in that list you just have to call these variables first screen, responsive screen, and so on. The b is small, and by this way we can handle the pop effect. So that's it for today's tutorial. I hope you learned something new. If you learned something new, please like the video, and if you have any questions you can ask me down below in the comments. Thank you for watching. Take care.